G'day, Phil Badura here from ActionCOACH Business Steps. Let me ask you a question. How much of your business is sitting in someone's head right now? Not in your systems, not in the software, not in a manual, not in a process map, and not in an SOP. Just in someone's head. Maybe it's your head. Maybe it's your office manager's head. Maybe it's or a team member who everyone goes to because they just know how it's done. And while that might feel normal in a growing business, it's also one of the biggest hidden risks to your time, your profit, your culture, and your ability to scale. Because when knowledge lives only in people's heads, the business slows down. Training takes too long, mistakes get repeated, people interrupt each other all day, and the owner becomes the bottleneck. And the whole team spends more time asking questions than getting results. That's what I want to really dig into today. Because if you want a business that runs better, grows faster, gives your team clarity, and gives you your time back, then you must learn how to turn tribal knowledge into simple procedures your team actually follows. Not a giant folder that nobody reads, not overcomplicated documents full of fluff, not systems for the sake of systems. I'm talking about practical, clear, useful process mapping and SOPs that reduce wasted time, improve consistency, lift accountability, and help your people win. So today I'm going to walk you through what tribal knowledge is, why it's dangerous, why process mapping matters, how SOPs save time for you and the team, and how to create procedures that people will actually use. And what I've seen working with business owners who made this shift from chaos to control. Because systems create consistency and people create results. Now let's get into it. One of the biggest traps I see in small and medium-sized businesses is this. The business grows faster than the systems. At the start, that seems fine. Everyone is close together. You can ask questions quickly. The owner is involved in everything, and people figure things out as they go. But when the system grows, you add more customers, more jobs, more invoices, more staff, more admin, and more moving parts. And suddenly the way that you used to run things stop working, because now people are relying on verbal instructions, memory, habit, assumptions, and workarounds. That's tribal knowledge. Tribal knowledge is information that exists informally inside the business, usually in someone's memory, rather than in a documented, repeatable system. And business owners often underestimate how costly that is. Here's what tribal knowledge creates. It creates delays because people wait for answers. It creates inconsistency because everyone does the job differently. It creates rework because steps get skipped. It creates frustration because nobody is quite sure what right looks like. It creates risk because if one person leaves, the process leaves with them. And it creates dependency because the owner stays at the center of everything. So even though it feels like people are busy, the business is actually leaking time all over the place. And that matters because time is one of the most valuable business assets. When time is wasted through confusion, duplicated effort, interruptions, poor handovers, and avoidable mistakes, profit follows. It's straight out the door. So when I talk to business owners about process mapping and SOPs, I'm not talking about administration for administration's sake. I'm talking about protecting time, protecting quality, protecting margin, protecting the customer experience, and protecting the future of the business. A lot of owners tell me that they need better time management, and they do. But often what they really need is better operational clarity, because poor systems destroy time. Think about how much time gets burned up in a normal week when someone has to ask you how to do a task. Somebody does it the wrong way and it has to be redone. Someone forgets a step. The customer has to be called back because information was missed. Even worse, a quote goes out late or an order gets processed incorrectly. Or the owner gets dragged back into something the team should be able to handle. That's not just a time issue, that's a systems issue. When a process is clear, documented, trained and followed, your people don't need to keep reinventing the wheel. They can execute with confidence. That saves mental energy, it saves emotional energy, and it saves decision-making energy. And this is where I want business owners to really pay attention. Your team's productivity is not only driven by effort, it's driven by clarity. People move faster when they know A, what to do, B, when to do it, C, how to do it, D, what matters or standard matters, and then E, the who owns the next step. That's what a good SOP does. It removes guesswork. And when you remove guesswork, you free people up to focus on the work that actually moves the business forward. That includes you, because you shouldn't be spending your time answering the same operational questions over and over again. Your role as the owner or leader is not to be the walking instruction manual. Your role is to build the business so that the business can perform without your constant intervention. Now let's make this practical. Process mapping is simply getting clear on the exact steps in a process from start to finish. That's it. It's not fancy. It's not just for corporates. It's not something only engineers or compliance people do. A process map is a visual or structured flow of how work gets done. For example, how to lead becomes a customer, or how a lead becomes a customer. How a quote gets produced and approved. How to get a job scheduled. How does the stock get ordered? How a complaint gets resolved. How does the payroll get processed? Really important. And how a new employee gets onboarded. When you map a process, you can finally see where the process starts, what are the key steps are, and where delays can happen, where decisions are made, where errors are likely to occur, and where accountability is unclear. Once you can see it, you can improve it. That's the power. Most businesses don't improve processes because they've never actually stopped to define them. They're trying to improve fog. You can't improve what nobody can clearly describe. So process mapping gives you a practical starting point. It turns assumptions into visibility. Then SOPs take that visibility and turn it into repeatable action. An SOP is a standard operating procedure. Put simply, it's the agreed best way to complete a recurring task. Not the theoretical way, not the perfect textbook way. The practical, usable, agreed way your business wants it done. Now, a strong SOP answers questions like this. What is the task for? Who owns it? What or when does it happen? What are the steps? What tools or templates are used? What does good look like? What common mistakes must be avoided? And what happens next? Let me be clear here. The goal of an SOP is not documentation. The goal is consistency. The goal is confidence. The goal is speed. The goal is better outcomes with less friction. A good SOP helps your business deliver the same standard whether the task is done by your longest serving team member or your newest recruit. That's when you know that your systems are working. Now here's the truth. A lot of businesses do create SOPs and then nobody uses them. Why? Because they build documents for filing cabinets, not for real people doing real work. Team members ignore SOPs when they're too long, too vague, too theoretical, hard to find, out of date. That's a big one. Full of jargon. Yeah, a picture tells 1,000 words. Missing screenshots or examples, or created by someone who doesn't actually do the job. That's why I always say simple beats impressive. Your team does not need a 12-page masterpiece to send an invoice. They need clarity. They need something easy to read, easy to access, easy to follow, and easy to update. So, if you want procedures your team actually follows, they need to be built around usability. That means short, clear, practical, relevant, visible, and connected to accountability. The best SOPs are often 1 or 2 pages, or a simple checklist. Maybe a short step sequence with screenshots. People follows what helps them win. They ignore what slows them down. A lot of owners get overwhelmed here and think, we've got hundreds of processes, where do I even start? The answer is quite simple. Start with pain. Start where the friction is highest. Start where errors are frequent. Start where customers feel the inconsistency. Start where time gets wasted every week. Start where the owner gets interrupted the most often. And start where one person holds too much knowledge. In other words, don't try to document the whole business in one go. Pick the critical few. I like to apply the 80-20 rule. So what are the 80% of the problems that are causing you 20% of the heartache? Go and fix that 20%. I usually recommend owners begin with processes that sit in one of these areas: sales and quoting, customer onboarding, job delivery or service delivery, invoicing and cash collection, a really big one, purchasing and stock control, team onboarding and training, and then customer issue resolution. In doing that, then ask these questions. Where do mistakes cost us money? Where do delays frustrate our customers? Where do team members keep asking for help? And where am I still too involved? What would hurt most if one key person was to leave tomorrow? That's where you begin. That's good systems work. It's not random. It's strategic. It applies your attention, focus, and energy to the right parts of the business. Let me walk you through a simple process that I use with clients. Step number 1, identify the process. Be specific, not admin, not operations. Name the actual process. For example, how we onboard a new customer after they say yes. The clearer the process name, the easier it is to map. Step 2, define the outcome. What is the result that process should achieve? For example, the customer receives a welcome email, their details are entered correctly, the job is scheduled, and the next steps are clear. This matters because processes should be outcome driven, not activity driven. Step 3, map the current reality. Get the people involved in a room and ask, talk me through this or how this actually happens today. Not how it should happen, how it does happen. This is where gold comes out. You'll hear, usually we do this, but sometimes, or it depends who's in the office, or we only do that if the customer asks. Oh, I thought Sarah handled that. That's the gap between assumption and system. Map the steps in order. Step 4, remove waste and confusion. Once you see the process, ask, what steps are unnecessary? What's duplicated? What creates delays? Where are approvals slowing things down? What could be templated? What could be automated? What needs a decision rule? And then, what should happen every time? This is where process mapping becomes time management, because now you are taking time out of the system. Number 5, decide the best way. Now define the agreed best practice version, not based on preference, based on results, speed, clarity, and consistency. This step turns a messy habit into a business standard. Step 6, write the SOP simply. Use plain language, write it so a competent new team member could follow it. Include things like purpose, who's the owner, when it applies, what are the step-by-step actions, which templates or links should be followed, what are the quality checks, and what's the handover point. Step 7, train it. An SOP is not implemented because it exists. It's implemented because it's trained. Walk people through it, explain why it matters, show what good looks like, and then answer any questions. Get the buy-in. Step 8 then is to measure and improve. Then ask, is it being followed? Is it getting results? Where is it unclear? What needs updating? Systems are living tools, not dead documents. Let me give a few examples. I've worked with business owners where the whole operation was dependent on one long-term staff member who knew everything. Everyone relied on them. Where files were stored, how the orders were processed, which suppliers preferred what, and what jobs were booked. What the unwritten rules were within the organisation. And on the surface, that person looked invaluable. And underneath, the business was exposed. Because if that person was away, sick, overloaded, or left, the business slowed dramatically. So, what we did was not start by blaming the person. We started by extracting the knowledge. We sat down and we mapped the process. We turned verbal habits into visible steps. We built simple procedures with screenshots, checklists, and ownership. And then something powerful happened. The team became less dependent. Training got faster. The bottleneck reduced. The key staff member felt less pressure, not more. And the owner gained more confidence that the business could keep moving without constant rescue. In another business, the owner was still involved in every single quote, every scheduling change, and every customer issue. He told me he needed better time management. But once we looked under the bonnet, the real problem was this. The team had no documented process for how quotes should be prepared, approved, followed up, and converted. Every job was being handled slightly differently. So we mapped the sales to delivery process from first inquiry through to deposit paid. We created simple quoting standards, clear response times, follow-up rules, handover points, and basic scripts. The result? Fewer delays, better conversion, less backwards and forwards, less owner involvement, and a smoother customer journey. That's the thing. When owners say, I need more time, often what they really need is fewer broken processes. This topic is not just operational, it's leadership. Because to build a business that works, an owner has to shift from being the keeper of the knowledge to the builder of capability. That means letting go of the idea that it's faster if I just do it. They should already know. We're too busy to document it. We'll sort that out later. Those beliefs keep owners trapped. Let's be honest. Yes, it might be faster today to just do it yourself. But if you keep doing that, you train the business to stay dependent on you. That's not leadership. That's short-term relief. Real leadership says, I'm going to invest time now so that we save time later. That is working on the business. And that requires discipline in where you place your attention, focus, and energy. Your attention must go to recurring issues, not just urgent noise. Your focus must go to root causes, not surface level firefighting. Your energy must go to building capability, not feeding dependency. That's how a business owner matures from operator to leader. Now, this is where many business owners lose momentum. They're busy, flat out, working hard, but they are applying their energy to symptoms instead of systems. So here's a practical framework. Put your attention on recurring friction. Look for what keeps happening. The same errors, same questions, same delays, same complaints, same bottlenecks. Recurring friction is a signal that a system is missing. It's unclear or not followed. So put your focus on high-value processes. Not every process matters equally. Focus first on the processes that influence the customer experience, cash flow, time savings. Remember, get more done in less time is a key productivity initiative. Team performance, again related to productivity. Risk reduction, and then owner dependence. Put your energy into simplification. Don't build a complex system to solve a simple issue. Simplify the path. Reduce the steps, clarify ownership, use templates and checklists, automate where appropriate, and above all, make it visible. Put your leadership into follow through. This is a big one. The team will watch what you reinforce. If you create SOPs but keep allowing people to ignore them, the message is clear. The system doesn't matter. But when you coach to the system, review the system and improve the system, your people start to trust it. And when they trust it, they'll use it. Let me give you a simple checklist. A procedure is more likely to be followed when A, it's easy to find, it's easy to understand, specific to the role, written in plain English, broken into step-by-step steps, supported by examples, photos, videos, or screenshots, linked to templates or tools. It's owned by someone and reviewed regularly. That's it, no fluff. One of the mistakes I see is that owners try to build the ultimate manual. Don't do that. Build useful tools. Think, what would make this easier for my team to do right the first time? That question alone improves the quality of the SOPs, because the point is not to impress people with documentation. The point is to improve execution. Now let's go one level deeper. Good systems do more than save time. They shape culture. When your business has clear processes, people know what's expected. Accountability improves, confidence lifts, training feels fairer, standards become more consistent, and team members are more likely to take ownership. Why? Because clarity reduces tension. A lot of team frustration is not attitude, it's ambiguity. When people don't know what the standard is, they either guess, hesitate, or avoid responsibility. But when the system is clear, ownership becomes more natural. That's why I often say, if you want a stronger culture, build stronger systems. Remember, systems create consistency, people create results. Not because systems replace people, because systems support people. They create the environment where good people can do great work consistently. And that matters enormously for growth, because as your business grows, culture can't rely on constant verbal correction from the owner. It has to be reinforced by the way the business operates every day. Let's talk honestly about owner bottlenecks. Many business owners have become the centre for the business because they care deeply, know the most, and built it from the ground up. That's understandable. But at some point, the very strengths that built the business can start holding it back. Because if every answer lives with you, every decision waits for you, and every problem comes back to you, then your business cannot scale cleanly. You become the system, and that is exhausting. I've seen owners who can't take leave properly because they know the phone will ring. I've seen owners who work long hours, not because the demand is high, but because clarity is low. I've seen owners whose team is capable, but the business has never given them the structure to step up fully. That's why documenting process is so important. It's not about bureaucracy, it's about freedom. Freedom for the owner, freedom for the team, freedom for the customer experience to stay consistent. And it's freedom for the business to grow with less strain. And when you start seeing SOPs as a freedom tool, not a paperwork task, everything changes. So here's my challenge to you. This week, don't try to systematise the whole business. Pick one recurring process, just one. Choose something that wastes time, creates confusion, or relies too much on one person. Then do this. Write the name of the process, define the outcome, list the current steps, identify what's unclear or wasteful, agree on the best way, write a simple SOP, train it, and then review it again after 1 week. That one process could change more than you think, because once your team sees the value, momentum builds. And once you start creating clarity in one area, you begin to create control across the business. That's how it starts. Not with perfection, it's with progress. So let's wrap this up. If your business is too dependent on memory, verbal instructions, and key people holding everything together, then you do not have a people problem, you have a systems opportunity. Process mapping and SOPs are how you turn that opportunity into control. They'll help you save time, they'll help your team perform, they'll reduce the risks and mistakes, they improve consistency, they improve making onboarding faster, and they protect your business from risk. And most importantly, they help you build a business that is not trapped inside your head. Now, that's what real businesses or business leadership looks like. Not doing everything yourself. Building a business that can do more with more consistency through your people because the right systems are in place. If you're tired of firefighting, tired of being the bottleneck, and tired of feeling like everything depends on you, then now is the time to fix the gaps. Map the process, document the standard, train the team, create the consistency. Take action and get results. I'm Phil Badura from ActionCOACH Business Steps, turning business dreams into reality. And if you'd like any help in identifying the key processes in your business, extracting that tribal knowledge, and turning chaos into clear, practical systems that your team will actually follow, book a conversation. Let's work out where the biggest bottlenecks are and where your time is leaking and what systems need to be built first so that your business can run with more control, more confidence, and more profitability. Because business should give you more time and more life, not consume it. Thanks for watching.